It began behind the sealed oak doors of Kensington Palace, where even senior aides were abruptly dismissed and security corridors cleared without explanation. By nightfall, Prince William and Princess Catherine had held a private meeting so tense that palace insiders reportedly described it as deeply unsettling. Then came the image that ignited fresh speculation across Britain. Catherine leaving the room pale and visibly shaken, while William refused to answer a single question. Something had changed inside the House of Windsor. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. For years, Kensington Palace operated with the kind of disciplined precision that made even the smallest disruptions immediately noticeable. Every arrival was timed, every appearance carefully calculated, every silence intentional. But according to reports emerging from royal insiders and commentators close to the palace, what unfolded behind those closed doors was anything but routine. Sources suggest the private gathering involved not only Prince William and Princess Catherine, but several senior palace advisors whose schedules, had reportedly been cleared at the last minute. Even more unusual was the instruction allegedly passed down to junior aides shortly before the meeting began. No discussions, no leaks, no questions. In an institution built on controlled messaging, that level of secrecy immediately triggered alarm bells. And it was not simply the secrecy itself that unsettled observers. It was the atmosphere surrounding it. Multiple royal commentators would later claim that tensions had quietly been building inside royal operations for weeks, hidden beneath the polished surface of official engagements and carefully managed appearances. Staff reportedly noticed abrupt scheduling changes. Certain internal briefings were allegedly postponed without explanation. Communications teams, normally synchronized with military precision, appeared increasingly strained. One insider reportedly described the mood inside Kensington Palace as icy, while another suggested there had been growing concern over matters the public had not yet seen. Then came the moment that transformed private whispers into public obsession. Witnesses claim Catherine emerged from the meeting visibly emotional, her expression far more revealing than any official palace statement could ever be. For years, the Princess of Wales has maintained a reputation for composure under unimaginable pressure. Through public scrutiny, family tensions, and relentless media attention, she rarely allowed even a glimpse of vulnerability to surface in public view. Yet this time, according to those present nearby, something appeared different. Her movements were slower, her expression unusually tense, and beside her stood Prince William, equally guarded, refusing to acknowledge shouted questions from reporters waiting beyond palace grounds. That silence only intensified speculation. Within hours, royal watchers across Britain began dissecting every detail surrounding the meeting. Why had security protocols reportedly been tightened so suddenly? Why were multiple palace schedules quietly adjusted afterward? And perhaps most significantly, why did senior aides appear so determined to prevent information from leaving Kensington Palace? Reports suggest even longtime staff members were left confused by the extraordinary measures taken that evening. In royal circles, where controlled leaks often shape public narratives before official announcements, immense ever arrive, the complete absence of clarification felt deeply unusual. As speculation spread across newspapers and online discussions alike, several royal commentators began pointing toward a broader issue simmering beneath the surface. According to various interpretations of recent palace developments, Prince William has allegedly been facing mounting internal pressure as King Charles continues navigating ongoing health concerns. The future king, already carrying the enormous burden of preparing for the crown, now reportedly finds himself balancing institutional expectations with growing concerns surrounding his own family. And standing beside him through every moment has been Catherine, whose role inside the monarchy has only grown more critical during this period of uncertainty. But insiders now claim the strain may finally be taking a visible toll behind closed doors. Reports suggest William was later seen engaged in unusually serious conversations with palace security officials long after the meeting had ended, fueling even more questions about what truly happened inside Kensington Palace that night. Some believe the issue centered around internal disagreements over royal strategy. Others whisper about tensions tied to the monarchy's increasingly fragile public image during a time of enormous transition. And while no official explanation has emerged, the growing unease inside royal operations has become impossible to ignore. Because according to multiple palace observers, this was not an isolated moment. It was the culmination of weeks of growing tension, whispered concerns, and carefully concealed anxiety unfolding within the House of Windsor itself. And as Britain searched for answers, one chilling question began echoing through royal circles louder than ever before. What exactly had forced Prince William and Princess Catherine into such an urgent and deeply private meeting in the first place? But what truly alarmed royal insiders was not the meeting itself, it was who allegedly requested it behind closed palace walls. For months, the palace projected calm discipline to the outside world. Yet behind the polished ceremonies and carefully staged appearances, reports suggest senior members of the royal household were becoming increasingly divided over strategy, image, and control. And according to multiple insiders, the strain had finally reached Prince William and Princess Catherine directly. What made the situation even more unsettling was how carefully the tension had been concealed. Publicly, the monarchy continued presenting stability. Official engagements moved forward, carefully timed photographs appeared without interruption. Statements from palace communications teams remained measured and reassuring. But according to insiders familiar with the atmosphere inside Kensington Palace, the reality behind closed doors had become far more complicated. The calm exterior, they claim, masked a growing storm that had been building quietly for months. At the center of that pressure stood Prince William. As King Charles continued navigating ongoing health struggles, the future king reportedly found himself carrying an increasingly heavy burden inside the institution. Royal commentators have long described William as disciplined, calculated, and deeply protective of the monarchy's future. Yet sources now suggest the responsibility weighing on him had intensified dramatically in recent months. Every decision, every public appearance, every private discussion allegedly carried greater significance than ever before, with uncertainty surrounding the king's condition continuing to dominate internal royal conversations. William was reportedly being pushed further toward the front line of the monarchy's future long before he may have expected, and beside him through all of it stood Catherine. For years, the Princess of Wales has been viewed as one of the monarchy's greatest assets, calm under pressure, composed during crisis, and unwavering in her ability to project stability even during periods of enormous scrutiny. But according to reports emerging from palace insiders, Catherine herself had also been facing mounting private strain while continuing to fulfill public responsibilities with relentless consistency. Multiple royal commentators noted what they described as subtle but undeniable changes surrounding Kensington Palace operations. Certain engagements were allegedly adjusted at the last moment. Internal briefings reportedly became less predictable. Some staff members quietly whispered that the atmosphere inside palace offices had shifted in ways they had not seen in years. That phrase, a shift in tone, would soon begin appearing more frequently among royal observers and media commentators attempting to understand what was unfolding behind palace walls. It was not necessarily one dramatic incident that raised concern. It was the accumulation of smaller moments. The unusual caution surrounding internal communications, the reportedly tense interactions between senior advisors, the sudden cancellation of meetings that had long been scheduled weeks in advance. Individually, each detail seemed manageable. Together, however, they painted a picture of an institution struggling to maintain absolute control during a deeply uncertain chapter. For longtime royal watchers, the parallels to previous periods of instability inside the monarchy became impossible to ignore. Some commentators quietly compared the atmosphere to earlier moments when pressure behind palace walls eventually spilled into public view with devastating consequences. Others warned that the modern monarchy now faced challenges unlike anything seen in decades, balancing tradition, public trust, media scrutiny, and internal tensions all at once, while the future direction of the crown remained uncertain. And according to several insiders, William had become increasingly aware of how dangerous even the smallest fracture inside royal operations could become if left unchecked. That awareness, reports suggest, may explain why those closest to him began noticing changes in his behavior as well. Sources claim the Prince of Wales had become more guarded than ever, carefully limiting internal discussions and tightening the circle of people he trusted around sensitive matters. Conversations that once flowed openly inside royal offices allegedly became more restricted. Senior aides were reportedly instructed to exercise greater caution regarding private communications. And while palace officials publicly dismissed suggestions of internal turmoil, The growing tension behind the scenes appeared harder to contain with each passing week. Meanwhile, Catherine reportedly found herself caught between two worlds, the public role demanding grace and reassurance, and the private reality of navigating mounting institutional pressure alongside her husband. Insiders claimed the emotional toll of maintaining that balance was becoming increasingly difficult to hide. Yet despite the strain, both William and Catherine continued presenting the image of unity expected from the future king and queen, even as whispers surround. Internal palace divisions grew louder across Britain's media landscape. And then, just as speculation surrounding Kensington Palace reached a fever pitch, something happened that changed the conversation entirely. A single development, one private moment, one deeply unsettling series of events that transformed quiet palace anxiety into a national talking point. According to palace observers, this was no ordinary royal briefing. Security protocols reportedly tightened. Staff movements were restricted. Even longtime aides were allegedly denied access to portions of Kensington Palace for several hours. Whatever was discussed inside that room was treated with extraordinary caution, and that alone sent speculation spiraling. By the following morning, whispers had already begun circulating through royal media circles that something highly sensitive had unfolded behind palace walls. What initially appeared to be a routine internal discussion quickly transformed into one of the most closely watched royal developments in recent months. Reports suggest multiple layers of privacy measures were quietly implemented before the meeting even began. Certain corridors inside Kensington Palace were, allegedly cleared. Staff access was temporarily restricted. Several aides who normally attended senior briefings were reportedly instructed to remain outside entirely. For many longtime palace employees, that level of operational secrecy felt deeply unusual, particularly inside an institution where controlled coordination is normally everything. The mystery only deepened once details surrounding those allegedly present inside the room began to emerge. According to palace insiders, senior royal advisors, communications officials, and key members of William and Catherine's private team were all reportedly involved in the discussions. Some commentators speculated the meeting centered around growing concerns over public messaging and the monarchy's ability to maintain stability during an increasingly fragile period. Others believed the discussions may have involved tensions over how future royal responsibilities should be managed while King Charles continued facing ongoing health challenges. Whatever the truth may have been, insiders agreed on one thing. The atmosphere surrounding the meeting was unlike anything they had witnessed in years. And then came reports that Princess Catherine, inherently herself, may have played a far more central role in the discussions than many initially realized. According to several royal commentators, Catherine allegedly pushed for a different approach behind closed doors, one that may not have aligned entirely with existing palace strategy. Those claims, while unconfirmed, immediately triggered fresh speculation about growing disagreements within royal operations. Some insiders suggested Catherine had become increasingly concerned about the emotional and institutional pressure surrounding the family. Others whispered that frustrations had been building quietly over how certain palace matters were being handled internally. What made those rumors particularly explosive was the reputation Catherine has carefully maintained throughout her years inside the monarchy. Unlike previous royal figures associated with public tensions or internal disputes, the Princess of Wales has long been viewed as disciplined, diplomatic, and exceptionally cautious when navigating palace affairs. For commentators to suddenly suggest she may have challenged established approaches behind closed doors represented a dramatic shift in how many perceived the internal dynamics of Kensington Palace. And while no official confirmation ever emerged, the speculation alone was enough to ignite a media frenzy. Prince William's behavior in the days that followed only intensified public curiosity. Observers noted what they described as visible strain during several later appearances. His tone reportedly appeared sharper, his interactions more guarded. Royal insiders who had followed William for years claimed he seemed unusually tense, as though carrying the weight of far more than public duty alone. Behind the scenes, reports suggest conversations among senior staff became increasingly cautious as concern grew over potential leaks and mounting online speculation. One palace source allegedly described the atmosphere as unusually cold, a phrase that quickly spread across tabloids and royal commentary programs alike. Then the situation exploded beyond palace walls entirely. Once leaked reports surrounding the secretive meeting began circulating online, Social media erupted with theories, accusations, and endless speculation about what the monarchy might be trying to contain. Some believe the meeting signaled a growing fracture within royal leadership. Meyer, hers feared it pointed toward a far more personal crisis unfolding behind the scenes. Every cancelled appearance, every altered schedule, every carefully worded palace statement suddenly became part of a much larger mystery consuming public attention across Britain and beyond. And at the center of all of it stood Catherine, silent, composed in public, yet increasingly becoming the focus of whispered concern among royal insiders. Because as speculation surrounding the palace intensified, many began wondering whether the Princess of Wales had been carrying far more pressure behind closed doors than anyone previously understood. But as the rumors intensified, attention suddenly shifted toward Catherine herself and the pressure she may have been carrying in silence. Princess Catherine has long been viewed as the stabilizing force of the modern monarchy, calm under pressure, disciplined in public, and unwavering beside Prince William. But insiders now claim the emotional weight of recent months may finally be taking a visible toll behind palace walls. For years, Catherine represented something the monarchy desperately needed during periods of uncertainty: consistency. While royal controversy, Ursies erupted around her, while family divisions dominated headlines, and while public trust in the institution faced repeated tests, the Princess of Wales remained composed with almost unshakable precision. She rarely appeared rattled, rarely reacted emotionally in public, and perhaps most importantly, she became a reassuring symbol of continuity during moments when the House of Windsor seemed increasingly fragile. That reputation made the recent speculation surrounding her all the more shocking, because according to insiders, the strain Catherine has been carrying privately may have become impossible to fully conceal. Reports suggest the pressure surrounding the Princess of Wales intensified dramatically over the past several months as scrutiny surrounding the royal family reached new levels. Every public appearance became heavily analyzed. Every absence triggered rumors. Every subtle change in behavior became a topic of debate across newspapers and online discussions alike. And through all of it, Catherine reportedly continued trying to maintain the calm image expected of the future queen. But palace watchers now claim there were growing signs that the emotional burden behind scenes were becoming increasingly difficult to manage. Some royal commentators pointed toward what they described as subtle shifts in her public demeanor, moments of visible fatigue, longer pauses during appearances, a more serious tone during engagements that once appeared effortless for her to navigate. Individually, the changes seemed small, but together, they fueled growing concern among observers who have followed Catherine's role inside the monarchy for years. According to insiders, the princess had been balancing far more than official duties alone. Behind closed doors, she was reportedly carrying the pressure of protecting her family while helping Prince William navigate one of the most uncertain periods the monarchy has faced in decades. And that pressure, many believe, extends far beyond ceremonial responsibilities. As King Charles continues dealing with ongoing health concerns, the future of the institution increasingly appears tied to William and Catherine more than ever before. Royal analysts have repeatedly described the couple as the monarchy's greatest source of public stability. Yet the irony, according to some insiders, is that the very role designed to preserve the crown may now be placing enormous emotional strain on the two people expected to carry its future. For some royal commentators, the comparisons to Princess Diana have become impossible to ignore, not because Catherine and Diana share the same public persona, but because both women found themselves navigating extraordinary pressure inside an institution often defined by silence, expectation, and relentless public attention. Diana's struggles unfolded publicly in ways that shook the monarchy forever. Catherine, by contrast, has spent years carefully avoiding emotional exposure. Yet insiders now whisper that the psychological toll of maintaining that composure may be quietly building beneath the surface. As speculation intensified online, public sympathy toward Catherine began growing rapidly. Across social media platforms, many royal supporters expressed concern not only about the rumors themselves, but about the human pressure surrounding the Princess of Wales. Some defended her fiercely against growing scrutiny. Others questioned whether the monarchy's demands had become too overwhelming even for someone as disciplined as Catherine. And with every new report emerging from insiders, the conversation surrounding Kensington Palace shifted from curiosity to genuine concern. At the same time, royal analysts began debating whether the monarchy itself may be entering another deeply unstable chapter. The institution has survived scandal, betrayal, and crisis before, but many observers believe the current moment feels uniquely fragile. King Charles faces ongoing health challenges. Public trust remains delicate. Internal palace tensions reportedly continue simmering beneath the surface. And now the future king and queen themselves appear increasingly weighed down by the enormous responsibility resting on their shoulders. Yet despite the rumors, despite the mounting speculation, and despite the visible strain commentators claim to have noticed, Catherine herself remained publicly silent. No dramatic statements, no emotional interviews, no attempt to directly confront the growing storm surrounding her name. Instead, the palace continued presenting calm reassurance while insiders whispered that the true story, unfolding behind closed doors, was far more emotionally devastating than the public fully understood. And while Catherine remained silent publicly, Palace MIA insiders claim Prince William's behavior revealed far more than official statements ever could. Prince William has spent years mastering the art of royal restraint. But according to observers, the future king's recent behavior has carried unmistakable signs of frustration, concern, and quiet determination. Behind the carefully controlled appearances, many now believe William is preparing for a far larger battle inside the monarchy itself. For most of his life, William has understood the unspoken rule that defines survival inside the House of Windsor. Emotions are controlled, pressure is buried, and duty always comes first. It is a discipline shaped by decades of public scrutiny, personal loss, and relentless expectation. Those closest to the monarchy often describe him as measured almost to a fault, cautious with his words, deliberate with his actions, and deeply aware that every gesture carries consequences far beyond himself. But according to palace insiders, something about the Prince of Wales has shifted in recent months. Not dramatically, not openly, but enough for longtime observers to quietly acknowledge that the strain surrounding him may be reaching a critical point. Reports suggest William has been holding multiple emergency discussions with senior advisors behind closed doors as concern grows over both palace stability and the future direction of the monarchy. While official details remain tightly guarded, insiders claim the frequency and urgency of these conversations have noticeably increased. Some believe the meetings are centered around managing institutional pressure during King Charles' ongoing health challenges. Others whisper about growing disagreements behind the scenes over strategy, communication, and leadership as the royal family navigates one of its most uncertain modern chapters. Whatever the truth may be, the pattern itself has become impossible for royal watchers to ignore. At the same time, body language experts and royal commentators have increasingly pointed toward visible signs of stress during William's recent public appearances. They describe moments of tension that would once have seemed unthinkable for a figure so carefully trained in royal composure. A tighter expression, shorter responses, brief flashes of frustration quickly concealed beneath formality. None of it dramatic enough to confirm the rumors swirling around. I see Kensington Palace, but enough to fuel growing public fascination with what may truly be unfolding behind closed doors. According to several analysts, William appears less like a prince comfortably preparing for the future, and more like a man, carrying the crushing weight of protecting both his institution and his family simultaneously. And perhaps that is precisely what makes this moment so emotionally charged. Because unlike previous royal controversies fueled by scandal or spectacle, this growing tension feels rooted in responsibility. Insiders claim William has become intensely focused on shielding Catherine and their children from the relentless pressure now surrounding the monarchy. Sources suggest his inner circle has tightened significantly, with trust becoming an increasingly sensitive issue inside palace operations. Conversations once handled casually are reportedly treated with far greater caution. Some advisors allegedly fear the institution is entering a period where even minor fractures could rapidly escalate into larger crises if not managed carefully. Royal historians have quietly drawn comparisons between William's current position and the enormous pressure King Charles himself faced during earlier periods of royal instability. Like his father before him, William now appears trapped between public expectation and private reality. He is expected to reassure the nation while navigating internal tensions few outside the palace fully understand. He must project confidence even as uncertainty continues growing around the institution he is destined to lead. And according to several royal commentators, that balancing act may be becoming more difficult with each passing week. What has intensified public curiosity even further is the sense that William is no longer simply reacting to events unfolding around him. Many insiders now believe he is actively preparing for a larger shift inside the monarchy itself. Reports of disagreements surrounding palace management, communication strategy, and long-term planning have continued surfacing despite official silence from Kensington Palace. Some speculate the Prince of Wales is pushing for tighter control over certain operations as pressure surrounding the royal family intensifies. Others believe the growing tension reflects a deeper struggle over how the monarchy should evolve during a time of enormous instability. Meanwhile, public speculation has reached extraordinary levels. Every appearance involving William is now dissected in microscopic detail across media platforms and online discussions. Supporters express sympathy for the burden he appears to be carrying, while critics question whether the monarchy itself is becoming increasingly unsustainable under modern scrutiny. Yet through all of it, William continues maintaining the disciplined restraint expected of a future king, even as insiders suggest the emotional cost behind that composure may be growing heavier by the day. But the deeper issue, according to several royal commentators, may not be one private meeting, it may be the growing divide inside the institution itself. The British monarchy has survived wars, scandals, abdications, and betrayals. Yet insiders now whisper that the latest tensions unfolding inside Kensington Palace may reflect something even more dangerous: a quiet struggle over the future direction of the crown itself. For generations, the monarchy has operated through an unwritten balance of power tradition, carefully protecting the institution while each new era quietly reshaped it from within. But according to royal commentators and palace insiders, that balance may now be under extraordinary strain. What initially appeared to be isolated tensions surrounding Prince William and Princess Catherine has increasingly evolved into something much larger, far more political, and potentially far more destabilizing for the future of the royal family itself. Because behind the carefully controlled public image of unity, reports suggest senior figures inside palace operations may no longer fully agree on what the monarchy should become in the years ahead. At the center of the growing divide are reportedly competing visions for survival. Some insiders claim sections of the royal household continue favoring traditional model that has governed the institution for decades: measured communication, rigid hierarchy, and an almost impenetrable culture of secrecy. Others, however, allegedly believe the monarchy can no longer survive modern scrutiny without significant changes in strategy and control. And according to multiple royal observers, William and Catherine increasingly appear aligned with the second approach. Reports suggest the Prince and Princess of Wales have privately pushed for a more disciplined and tightly managed structure surrounding their future roles, particularly regarding communications, public messaging, and internal operations. Those familiar with palace culture claim William has grown deeply frustrated with recurring media leaks and the inability to fully contain damaging speculation once it begins spreading publicly. Catherine, meanwhile, is reportedly seen by some insiders as a stabilizing figure advocating for a more focused and carefully protected approach to royal life, one designed not only to modernize the monarchy, but to shield their family from the destructive pressures that have historically consumed senior royals. But not everyone inside palace circles allegedly agrees with that direction. According to royal commentators, tensions have quietly emerged between those pushing for modernization and others determined to preserve long-standing institutional traditions no matter the cost. Some insiders claim disagreements surrounding public strategy have become increasingly difficult to ignore. Others whisper about growing frustration behind the scenes regarding how certain issues have been communicated to the public during King Charles' reign. And while no senior royal has addressed these rumors directly, the repeated signs of internal strain have only intensified speculation that competing power centers may now be quietly forming inside the monarchy itself. What makes the situation especially volatile is the issue of trust. Reports surrounding leaks, private disagreements, and carefully concealed tensions have reportedly shaken confidence within parts of royal operations. According to insiders, conversations inside palace walls have become increasingly guarded as concerns grow over who can truly be trusted during this period of instability. Some advisors allegedly fear that even minor internal divisions could quickly spiral into a public crisis, capable of damaging the monarchy's already fragile relationship with the public. Royal historians have noted that these kinds of struggles are not new to the House of Windsor. Throughout history, periods of royal transition have often triggered internal battles over power, influence, and the future direction of the crown. From abdications to succession disputes to public scandals that nearly shattered public confidence, the monarchy has repeatedly been forced to adapt under pressure. But many experts now warn that the current moment feels uniquely precarious because it is unfolding during a time when every private tension can become global news within minutes. And hanging over all of it is the ongoing reality of King Charles' health struggles. According to several royal analysts, the king's condition has accelerated conversations about the monarchy's future far sooner than many inside palace operations expected. William is no longer viewed simply as the future king in waiting. Increasingly, insiders suggest he is being forced into a leadership role while simultaneously navigating immense institutional pressure behind closed doors. Catherine, too, reportedly finds herself carrying a level of responsibility few royal figures have faced this early in their transition toward the throne. That is why some royal experts now describe the monarchy as standing at a critical turning point. Not because collapse is imminent, but because the decisions being made behind palace walls today may ultimately shape the institution for decades to come. Every strategy discussion, every internal disagreement, every effort to contain growing speculation now carries consequences, far beyond a single news cycle. And according to many observers, the tension surrounding Kensington Palace may represent only the surface of a much deeper struggle unfolding within the crown itself. Then came the move that convinced many observers this situation was far more serious than the palace wanted the public to believe. In royal history, silence is rarely accidental, and after the palace refused to directly address mounting rumors surrounding William and Catherine's private meeting, speculation only intensified. The lack of explanation became a story of its own, and every cancelled appearance, every altered schedule, every carefully staged photograph added fuel to the fire. What unsettled royal observers most was not simply the absence of answers, but the precision of the silence itself. Kensington Palace did not deny the rumors directly. It did not offer clarification. It did not attempt to aggressively dismiss the growing speculation consuming headlines across Britain. Instead, officials maintained carefully controlled statements that revealed almost nothing while appearing designed to calm public concern without truly addressing it. But according to royal commentators, the ICT strategy may have achieved the exact opposite effect, because within the monarchy, silence has often carried meaning far louder than words. Almost immediately, media outlets began dissecting every public movement involving Prince William and Princess Catherine with microscopic intensity. Routine engagements suddenly became headline news. Brief interactions were analyzed frame by frame. Every expression, every pause, every subtle shift in tone became material for endless speculation about what may truly have been unfolding behind palace walls. Royal reporters noted that appearances involving the couple seemed more tightly managed than usual, while palace communications became increasingly limited compared to previous periods of public scrutiny. Then came the wave of online obsession that transformed concern into something much larger. Across social media platforms, royal fans and commentators began examining William and Catherine's body language in extraordinary detail. Some claimed William appeared more protective than ever before, staying unusually close to Catherine during public appearances, while maintaining what observers described as a guarded, almost watchful demeanor. Others focused on Catherine herself, suggesting moments of visible exhaustion or emotional strain that fueled fresh theories about the pressure she may have been facing privately. Whether accurate or not, the speculation spread with astonishing speed, and with each passing day, the palace's refusal to directly address the rumors only deepened public fascination. Reporters covering the royal family also began pointing towards something they described as highly unusual: the narrowing flow of information coming from Kensington Palace itself. Traditionally, during periods of growing speculation, carefully timed briefings or unofficial guidance would quietly emerge to stabilize public narratives before rumors spiraled too far beyond control. But according to several royal correspondents, that pattern appeared noticeably absent this time. Some insiders even claimed senior aides themselves were receiving limited information. fueling speculation that discussions inside palace operations had become increasingly compartmentalized and tense. For many longtime royal watchers, the atmosphere began evoking memories of previous royal crises where silence eventually preceded major revelations, comparing, on surface, to earlier periods in modern royal history, when carefully managed public appearances concealed enormous private strain behind the scenes. Analysts debated whether the palace had learned from those moments or whether it risked repeating the same dangerous pattern all over again. Because while secrecy may protect stability temporarily, history has repeatedly shown that prolonged silence inside the monarchy often creates a vacuum quickly filled by speculation, fear, and mistrust. That debate soon became central to public discussion surrounding William and Catherine. Some royal experts argued the palace was acting responsibly by protecting private matters during an already fragile period for the monarchy. Others warned the lack of transparency was actively worsening the situation, allowing rumors to grow unchecked while public anxiety intensified with every passing week. And somewhere between those competing arguments stood millions of people trying to understand whether the future king and queen were quietly navigating an ordinary period of royal pressure or something far more serious. Meanwhile, pressure for official clarification continued mounting. Journalists open. Lily questioned why palace schedules had changed so abruptly following the private meeting. Royal commentators demanded greater transparency regarding the growing reports of internal tension. Even some supporters of the monarchy began expressing frustration over what they viewed as excessive secrecy surrounding the situation. Yet despite the escalating scrutiny, Kensington Palace remained remarkably disciplined in its refusal to provide meaningful answers. And that silence, more than any rumor or leaked report, became the most chilling development of all. Because as speculation consumed headlines and public curiosity reached extraordinary levels, many insiders quietly began wondering whether the palace was withholding information simply to protect stability, or because the truth behind the growing tensions was far more serious than anyone outside those palace walls yet understood. And now, many believe the monarchy may soon face a defining moment that reshapes the future of the royal family itself. Behind the gates of Kensington Palace, the future of the monarchy may be shifting in ways the public cannot yet fully see. Because according to royal insiders, the private meeting between Prince William and Princess Catherine was never just about one difficult conversation. It was about survival, pressure, legacy, and the enormous burden of preparing for the crown. For years, William and Catherine represented the monarchy's safest promise for the future. Calm where others appeared chaotic, disciplined where others became controversial, dependable during moments when public confidence in the royal institution often seemed dangerously fragile. Together, they projected the image of continuity the House of Windsor desperately needed in an era shaped by scandal, division, and relentless scrutiny. But according to growing whispers from palace insiders, the reality behind that image may now be far more emotionally complicated than the public ever realized. As King Charles continues facing ongoing uncertainty surrounding his health, the weight resting on William and Catherine's shoulders appears to have grown exponentially heavier. Royal commentators increasingly describe the Prince and Princess of Wales not simply as future monarchs in waiting, but as figures already being pushed toward the center of royal leadership during one of the most delicate periods in modern royal history. Every appearance now carries added meaning. Every public interaction becomes symbolic. Every private decision has the potential to shape how the monarchy itself survives the years ahead. And according to insiders, that pressure has transformed life inside Kensington Palace into something far more intense than the public can fully understand. What makes the situation especially powerful is the emotional contradiction at the center of it all. To millions around the world, William and Catherine symbolize stability. They are viewed as the monarchy's strongest defense against uncertainty. Yet behind palace walls, reports suggest they may themselves be struggling under the extraordinary expectations attached to their future roles. The institution depends on them appearing composed. The public looks to them for reassurance. The monarchy needs them to embody continuity at a time when confidence in royal stability feels increasingly fragile. And according to several insiders, maintaining that image has come at an enormous personal cost. That emotional tension may explain why public fascination surrounding the couple has intensified so dramatically in recent weeks. People are no longer simply watching royal ceremonies or public appearances. They are searching for answers. searching for signs, trying to understand whether the future king and queen are quietly navigating ordinary institutional pressure or confronting a far deeper crisis unfolding behind closed doors. Every silence from Kensington Palace has only deepened that curiosity. Every carefully managed appearance has fueled even more speculation about what may truly be happening inside the House of Windsor. At the same time, broader questions surrounding the monarchy's future continue growing louder. Can the institution adapt to the modern era while preserving the traditions that define it? Can William and Catherine protect their family from the pressures that consumed previous generations of royals? And perhaps most importantly, can the monarchy itself survive an age where privacy has become almost impossible to maintain? According to royal experts, those questions are no longer theoretical discussions for the future. They are challenges already shaping decisions behind palace walls right now. Reports suggesting further developments may soon emerge have only intensified the atmosphere of uncertainty surrounding Kensington Palace. Some insiders believe additional changes inside royal operations are already underway. Others fear the growing pressure could eventually force the palace into addressing speculation more directly than it ever intended. But regardless of what happens next, one reality appears increasingly impossible to deny. The private tensions surrounding William and Catherine have become symbolic of something much larger than a single meeting or isolated rumor. They reflect the immense emotional burden of carrying an institution whose survival depends on maintaining strength even during moments of private vulnerability. And perhaps that is the true tragedy hidden beneath the polished surface of monarchy itself. The crown demands endurance. It demands sacrifice. It demands silence even during periods of fear, exhaustion, and uncertainty. For William and Catherine, the future may still hold enormous success, admiration, and historical significance. But according to insiders, it may also require navigating pressures unlike anything either of them ever imagined when they first stepped into royal life together. For now, the palace remains quiet. The speculation continues. And somewhere behind those guarded walls, the future King and Queen of Britain reportedly continue preparing for responsibilities that may arrive far sooner and under far greater pressure than anyone expected. Inside the House of Windsor, the cameras may capture ceremony and tradition, but behind palace walls, the real battle is often fought in silence. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.